Testing, testing. Here we go. We are ready to start. So please find your seat and get settled. You're in for a grand evening. We found a pair of glasses, black glasses. If anybody happened to leave them here, could be from earlier this evening or another group that's meeting in another room. Well, delighted to welcome you here for our Vibrant Living series. The first Wednesday of each month, same time and this particular place. We're delighted to invite people who have something helpful, wise, and loving to share. And you're especially in for a treat this evening. Where is Hope is the title. Pardon me? Okay. Barbara has been here many times before. She runs the IANDS meeting here once a month, the second Wednesday of each month. So she's reminding me. Please turn off your cell phones. Anything else, Barbara, I should say? So we've got a great evening planned here. Hollister Rand, many of you know her. How many have heard her speak before? Oh, great. Almost everybody. They know what they're getting into, at least to some extent. Where is Hope? Certainly something that's needed well here at this time. Lights are going on and off. Are those the spirits or the people who live here? We need hope. There is a power behind the hope, and it's always accessible to us. So Hollister has been on many television programs. She has written several books. Most prominent one is Everything You Wanted to Know About the Afterlife and Were Afraid to Ask. She has marvelous messages for us. She is connected to the source of loving wisdom and is eager to share what she knows. Please warmly welcome Hollister Rand.
There we go. Can you hear me now? Yes, that's how I run a seance. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? It's really like a Verizon commercial. So nice to have you all here tonight. My name is Hollister Rand. I connect with loved ones in spirit at the frequency of divine love. And what that means is only the good spirits are allowed in here. If you had a difficult relationship with someone before they died and they show up here to speak with me, they've had a change of heart. There's a reason why death is called the great transformer. So I just want you to know, this is a safe zone here. I take people to the best neighborhoods of the afterlife, like the Santa Barbara of the afterlife. So I just want you to know we are very, very safe here. Now, with that in mind, I always like to get started with a blessing on our time together. Dear friends and relatives in spirit and guides who are here helping us to do this work today, for I know we don't do it alone. Thank you so much for this time together. And I ask a blessing upon it. I ask that you would use all of my abilities to see, hear, smell, taste, and feel so that I might be able to give messages today that are hopeful and helpful. Thank you so much for informing us through tonight's talk how to live in hope. Thank you so much for being here, and so be it. I went to Lazy Acres and got the low-fat tuna fish, which had lots of red onions in it. So I want to apologize in advance as I come toward you. I want you to know that is not the spirits that you are smelling. Yes. Where is hope? Oh, hello. There we go. Where is hope? Well, maybe it's a good idea to start with a definition, perhaps, of it. Oops, is it not going? Technical difficulties, I just want you to know. There we go. Okay, I want you to know that mediums are used to technical difficulties. So whenever we do anything PowerPoint or anything with amplification, Whenever I've done television shows, I say, bring extra batteries for the sound, for the cameras, because there's always an issue. So, of course, I had to go to Wikipedia to get the definition of hope. Hope is an optimistic state of mind that is based on an expectation of positive outcomes with respect to events and circumstances in one's life or at the world at large. Wikipedia. I love that because hope places us in a space of expectation of good outcomes, no matter how things look. And that's really important. You know, people will often call my office and, or send an email saying that it's an emergency. And I say to my assistant, they're dead. What's the emergency? Was that insensitive? I do apologize for that. But truly, the emergency is on our side of the equation. It's the feeling of disconnection. It's the feeling that the person we love is no longer available to us. That is the emergency. The emergency is not on the side of the spirits because they live in hope. Now, it was just another day at the office for me. I opened up the door, and there was a woman standing there, mid-40s perhaps, long dark hair, and tears streaming down her face. Now, when I was a young medium, I thought it was my makeup that caused people to cry. And then I realized that I stand often between or in the space between people and those they've lost. And at that frequency of love, there's a connection automatically. I don't have to do anything, and people can feel it. And I thought, oh my goodness, there she was weeping. And she said, I'm here because my son killed himself. He committed suicide. Now, as a medium, I don't want to hear things like that. I want to hear from the spirits themselves. I don't want people showing up and giving me information about who they want to talk with and why or any of that. And so I'm doing this in my head like, I really wish I didn't know that. And she said, I'm here because my priest told me that because my son committed suicide, I will never see him again. We will be separated for eternity. And I paused and I waited. She said, I am here for a second opinion. And it was in that moment that I understood hope. And I understood hope fueled by love. Because this was a woman who could not conceive of a God who didn't love her child as much as she did. So that hope that we walk through life with, or if we feel that we're missing it, or we don't think we have hope, we have to just look for love. Find out where the love is. Find out where the connection is. And that is where the hope is. So I could just end everything right there. But we're just sort of scratching the surface here. I speak at ARE, which is the Edgar Cayce Association. Let's see, I'm not sure where I have to point this. Do I just, you're doing it for me? Okay. So let's go to the next slide. Is it there? All right. Forces of life on earth shall overcome the force of darkness. Complete spiritual enlightenment on earth will occur. Edgar Cayce said that. And I love that quote. Forces of life on earth shall overcome the force of darkness. When I think of hope, I think of the hope that our ancestors had for us. You know that saying, I knew you before you were a gleam in your father's eye. Well, maybe that's just such an old saying, but they used to say that in my family. Our ancestors, we are the embodiment of their hopes. And this is why our loved ones in spirit show up for us, because we are living hope for them. And where they have in some way damaged our lives, or where life has damaged our lives and stood in the way of that hope, that's why they want to communicate and sort of right the ship. So take a moment and consider the hopes of your ancestors. Next slide. Did they want a life free from fear, political oppression, or poverty? So when you think about your ancestors, what did they want? Because what they wanted got you here. You wouldn't be here if they didn't have hopes and dreams. Did they want a life, or children and grandchildren? Did they want their children to go to college? Did they want an education? Do they want land and the safety of owning a home? These are all subsequent slides. So take a moment to consider the hopes of your ancestors. Just think about that for one moment. By the way, I'm hearing the name Jerry and Derek and Jason and Joseph. I just want you to know, when I started saying that, I'm like, wow, all of a sudden we have some ancestors showing up. So did your ancestors want to move beyond devastating loss due to illness or war? What were they trying to get away from? And how have those traumas been showing up in your lives? Now, I am feeling that the spirits do want to speak. They are just showing up. So I hope that's all right if we depart from the pre-programmed program. And sometimes I have to pay attention to that. I have to listen to what they want to do. May I come to you,
Testing.
please?
Should I give them a microphone?
We may not need it. I don't
okay.
know. What do we
Okay.
think?
You let me know.
Okay, because I just want you to know, we're hoping to speak with a male in spirit here today. Isn't that true? There's also a lady that's walking along the aisle and standing next to you. Do you also know of the younger person in spirit as well? Holy cow, you have such a group with you. All of a sudden, I can't breathe. And I can't tell whether this is the person in spirit or whether this is you not being able to take a breath. Have you not exhaled in months? Because there's this I cannot breathe feeling. You've been asking for this person to show up in your dreams. You're saying, why haven't you come? Why aren't you here? But this person lets me know, yes, I am here. By the way, do you also love animals? There's an awful lot of animals here. Are you the animal person? Are you the animal person? You are the animal person, because I'm like, there are all sorts of animals here for you as well. I just want you to know you have an entourage. We all have an entourage, but this lady in particular has quite an entourage. I'm seeing the number 3. I don't know if this is the 3rd month, the 3rd day, or if this is 3 years or 3 months or the 3rd of a month, but does 3...
It's the 3rd day since I had my dog put to sleep.
It's the 3rd day since she's had her dog put to sleep. Do you understand? This is why the animals are all here for you. Do you understand? So I could not, and did you hear me keep saying the spirit, the spirit? Now, any of you who have seen me, it's like your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, the name is, right? They come. I couldn't get a handle on this spirit because I thought this spirit was a person. So I just want you to know your dog was a person masquerading as a dog. Do you understand that?
I treated her like
Okay, and remember I said a younger female, that you wanted to speak with a younger female, because that was the feeling I was getting, a younger female, as though this were almost a child or a child. And I couldn't get a handle on exactly who this person is, because the person has 4 legs. And she makes me laugh, by the way. So there is humor here. There's a princess quality to this dog. I just want you to know I'm getting a wave. Whenever I see this, that's my symbol for the queen is here. You know, royalty is here, okay? So there really is that feeling. By the way, it was not too soon. She's letting me know that there was one very bad night and you could no longer watch her suffer. Correct? Yes, that's what she's telling me. One more bad night, and she tried to die during the night. And she may have even stopped breathing or, you know, was having trouble or panting, like I'm getting this, and she just wanted to go. But she couldn't leave you, you see. Because her contract, by the way, she came to you in an odd way. It's almost like she bounced around to other people or something and then came to you. Do you understand?
That was her sixth owner.
6th owner, right? Because she's giving me this idea of like a pinball machine, ba-bing, 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 you know. So she came to you in a roundabout way. And she wants you to know she came to you because you are home to her. Very expressive eyes and eyebrows, right? The eyebrows go up, just like my Aunt Jane. And so you can tell exactly what this dog is thinking by the eyebrow lift, especially on one side, because there's also a side eye. Do you know what I'm talking about? She didn't miss a trick. You don't do crossword puzzles, do you? She's showing me word games. Are you aware of what that is if it's not crossword puzzles?
I played a lot of solitaire online, but
Okay, so it's games, but it's not word games. I feel like she's going to communicate with you through words, though, like single words. Like you'll ask a question and a word will show up, or there'll be an answer that's a word, because this dog speaks English. She absolutely understands English. She's crossing her paws. She wants you to know it was not too soon. She had to go. Thank you for being brave enough to help me go when I was unwilling to leave you. And so therefore my promise is I will not leave you, ever. And may I leave you with that. All right. So interesting, isn't it? You know, when I do this work, I always ask the spirits to show me something new. Show me something that I haven't seen before. And I always love the animals. They almost always show up first. But your little girl is a person. And I'm seeing that more and more with animals. And I think it's because we're treating them like people. You know, and they believe us, right? They believe us. Why wouldn't they? When you say, you are my baby, you are my child, you are my little one, and we treat them that way, why wouldn't they step into that role and then give that to me? So, oh, I'm just delighted. She's
okay.
Absolutely. And tremendous gratitude, because you had to end the contract that the two of you had. She couldn't do it on her own. She wasn't going to leave you, because she promised once she came to you, I'm home, I'm never leaving you. The other thing I'd like everyone to know is that animals do not have issues around death and dying like we do. They just don't. They don't get hung up on it. But they will stay with us long beyond when it's reasonable for them to. Just so you know. Is there a horse person over in here? And someone with John, by the way, because I'm hearing John and I'm also hearing Joe. Right in here. Your father's name is John. Okay, so may I come to you, please? Yes, and he's in spirit? Okay, then we may have someone in your father's line in spirit here. So this would be your father's father, perhaps. And there's also a town that the family name is, I know this sounds weird, but there's a town where the family name is linked to the town. That's what this grandfather is telling me.
Okay.
So are you aware of that? That's okay. I just want to make sure you don't know of a town that's linked to your family.
No,
And
John,
John, and who is John?
my father's brother,
Okay, and is he in spirit?
yes.
There we go. So that was a shout out to you from your family, but do you see how the energy runs in a line, okay? And we can't make something fit if it isn't going to fit. So the other thing is there is a town where the family name is important in the town. Have you been doing some genealogy, by the way, or looking into that? Okay, is there someone in the family who is?
Yes.
Okay, because they will find out that there's this town that's related to the family, or the family name is part of the town or a street name in the town. So your family did have some importance in a town. And maybe even putting down roads, like there's, the name of the family is on a road. And it really feels as though much of your life has been trying to own what is really yours. And standing up for what is yours. Does that make sense to you?
Claim my heritage.
Claim your heritage or claim your inheritance, right? This is what we're talking about, okay? So this is why we have father's brother, we've got, the family showing up because there have been errors made or people have taken steps that have not been in your best interest. So you've been shunted aside in some way. But by the way, you also have a mother in spirit, because she's sitting back there. I don't know why she isn't sitting with you, but she just caught my eye. She didn't wear Chanel number 5, did she?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, because, oh my gosh, she just gassed me out. And I thought the onions were bad.
Very strong.
Very strong, that's what I'm saying. I apologize to the people in that row. If you smell Chanel number 5, that's what's going on. It's her mother. Do not blame me. So she is here, and she helps set up a difficult situation that you are living in today. And that's what she's letting me know. So whether this is favoritism with certain family members or that kind of thing. And was there a preference to the boys in the family over the girls in the family? And that was your mother's preference, by the way? Because that's what...
Firstborn.
Her firstborn is a boy, son? Yes, because this is what she's talking about, is it's all about the boys. It's all about preference for the boy. It's all about that. And this is old business, my dear. That's what she's letting me know. It started a long time ago. And do you also know about the lost baby? She's mentioning a baby that never made it here to the earth plane.
Didn't know that.
So, or one that was born and then died shortly after birth. Do you know if she had a brother who died?
Yes.
Because this is what she's talking about. She's talking about the loss of a brother and the birth of a son being related in some way in her heart. So there's a heartbreak, and then there's a welcoming of a boy into the family. And for her, that was a healing. And you weren't part of that, my dear. So it's less about you and more about the pain that she had growing up and a generation ago. She really felt as though she lost all of her protection, your mother. And so she did her best to build it in for herself. Do you understand? And always make sure that there was a man there to care for her or make sure everything was in order. That's what she's letting me know. What she also says is that you are tremendously strong. And you've always felt as though the only one you can depend upon is yourself. She's also mentioning June or July. June could be a name, but she's also mentioning July.
Birthday, June.
June is her birthday. Okay. Then do you also know what July is, or Julie?
No.
Okay, because sometimes June can also be a name and July can also be Julie. So we know that June is her birthday, but she also gave me July or Julie. So you may figure out what that is. She says you bring light wherever you go with beauty. So this may be beauty with growing things.
We do flowers at the church.
Okay. So you bring beauty with growing things. And that is Spirit's work. And so looking at what is beautiful, because plants won't lie to you. Plants are always who they say they are. And yes, their beauty has a purpose, but oh well, let's just enjoy their beauty. And so that's what your mother says with an apology. I am sorry I didn't take you into account. And I'm sorry that I taught you that the only one you could depend upon is yourself. She is sorry for that because it has done you out of what was rightfully yours as a child of hers. And she is sorry. And may I leave you with that, my dear? Okay. So you see, John doesn't fit, right? But, say that as a hello from your grandfather. But yeah, when it fits, right? Okay. Now, does anyone have any questions about mediumship, life after death, how I do this, or anything like that? I'm happy to answer a couple questions. Oh, you're all so smart. Nobody has
Yeah,
questions.
here we go.
Did my dog
Who
talk
had
to
the
you
question?
in a language,
Oh.
or you sensed that from
Okay,
her?
so do animals speak in English? Your dog spoke to me in English words. It was coming through in English. Now, that also happens when I speak with spirits from other countries who never spoke English. I was terrified when I did a spirit circle for my publisher in Japan. Because I thought, oh my gosh, I don't know the language. I don't really know the culture. How is spirit going to communicate with me? Some of the things were in English. Some of the words were phonetic. Like they'll give me phonetic words or names phonetically, so I will hear those. Sometimes they will give me visions and sort of a sense of things, that psychic knowing. So they'll use all sorts of ways to get the information through. But there's never a language barrier, but your dog understands English. But you knew that, right? Right. You spoke to your dog. Your dog understood you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Was there a question? Yes.
Do you often see animals first?
Yes, I often see animals first, and it's a simple reason. I love animals, number one. And my best friend went blind at the age of 19 and got her first guide dog. My sister has raised guide dogs. So I have been surrounded by animals who are guide dogs. And so the animals who work with me are guides. They get me to where I need to go. And so I depend on them for my work. And they're absolutely loving. And the other thing is, I had a little dog that I would take with me when I traveled named Bodhi. My first book was for parents who had lost children. And as you can understand, that's a very difficult subject. And so people would come to me very shut down and in terrible pain. And Bodhi would choose the person to go sit with, climb up on their lap, curl up. And, it was very, very clear that he was a healing dog. So I thought, all right, and I had a cat that was actually going to be used in scientific experiments by a scientist named Diane Archangel. And that was her real name. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? An afterlife scientist named Diane Archangel? What are the odds? It's like, it's like the chef that was named Diane Lettuce. That was a whole nother thing. She was at work. But anyway, I digress. So now I even forgot what I was, so Chi, my cat Chi, would howl at the door whenever there was going to be someone who passed with suicide, a child who passed with suicide. And it was a specific howl that he never made any other time. And I learned to pay attention to that, and I told Diane about that, and she said, Wouldn't it be interesting if proof of afterlife rested on 4 feet? Wouldn't it, though? So, segueing back to hope, our ancestors. Back in here, are you living on the ancestral land, by the way? Back in here? I feel, are you living on ancestral land?
I have been told I am.
You are, okay. The shaman has said, yes. And back in here, are you land? You are, okay. Because I'm like, I know it's right in here, and you're living on ancestral land. And are you also communicating with ancestors? And are they your ancestors as well? Yes, because there's a line of them going all the way back. And, you know, when I was talking about the hope of the ancestors, you lit up like a Christmas tree. It was like, wow, okay, there we've got the ancestors showing up. So, and it looks like they also diverge, the ancestors. So you've got one side that might want one thing, and you've got another side that's really associated with the land. Do you understand? So it's all, I don't want to say warring factions, that's not quite what I mean, but very different culturally. And so you stand in the nexus of those two cultures. You get that, right? And you are trying to honor both. And sometimes you feel like you're split down the middle. Correct? Okay. And it's interesting because as I look at you, they give me split screen. All right? It's like you're living in a split screen. So you could also feel a bit like a juggler, like, oh, I've got to do this or I've got to handle this. But some of this, you may even be looking at land deeds and stuff like that. Isn't that true? Because I'm seeing all of these deeds and where the line is because it's disputed or it's confused. Do you understand? And is there also a water source, by the way? Because it's all about the water, apparently, right? It's all about the water. That's what they're talking about. Okay, so this is the ancestors showing up, both sides saying, we are here together because you are the peacemaker. Have you been told that or do you feel that?
I do peace work.
You do peace work. Of course you do. And you might think that that is your purpose generated from you. That is not what is being shown to me here. What I'm being shown is divergent family lines, and definitely not peaceful, and may have even come together accidentally or under difficult circumstances. Do you understand? Like oppression or, right? Like an oppressor taking over someone else and impregnating someone. What a mess. What a mess. Okay? You are their peacemaker because your DNA could be at war. And they're lining up behind you. And as I'm looking now, these divergent lines are beginning to merge. And they're falling in line behind you. So what this feels like is some of the things that have been in contention will no longer be in contention, that there will be peace around those things. That this is now time. You've said enough. You've said enough. You've said it to the sky. You know, you have said it to people who will listen. And have you also done some rituals around it being enough? And peace, and bringing peace into the situation. I'm also seeing bones, by the way, so I don't know if there are bones on the property or buried people on the property. That's a yes, right? They're showing me bones. Okay? You're also bringing peace to those bones because their DNA is in the dirt. And at least 2 of them died for it. At least 2 of them died for that land. So there must have been a skirmish or, you know, an issue. You are their peace. And you're bringing healing to their land and to your entire ancestral line. And may I leave you with that. That's hope. Okay. Because where there is wounding in a family line, where there has been pain and loss and fighting and hopes of a better life, we are the hope of our ancestors. Every single one of us. Doesn't have to be as dramatic as that. Thank you, Spirit, for giving us a dramatic example of hope, right? But they organize around the topic, all right? Because I said to Dr. Jim, well, I sent you like a couple of, what should we talk about? And we sort of settled on hope, and I said, okay, everybody, get in line, because we're going to be talking about hope. We're going to be talking about hope. So let's get up another slide here. Let's just see where we are on the hope train. So how do we move the repository of hope, the hopes of the past, into our future? That's exactly how we do it. We start with the hopes of the ancestors, and we bring them forward in love, and we bring peace to the pain. That's how we bring their hopes into the future, free and unfettered by anger, loss, grief. We are all healers in that way. I love Christopher Reeve. He was my Superman. I mean, everybody has their own, Superman, but he was mine. And he said, once you choose hope, anything's possible. And I do love that. Now, hope isn't the same, and we're scrolling through these, Bent, you can just keep scrolling through, because we are now at the line which says that hope isn't the same for everyone, because life experiences and desires aren't the same. So everybody here has different hopes, desires, where you are in your life, how tired you are of a certain way of living, and how you might want to live differently. So we may be different in what we hope for, but the pathway to it is the same. And the pathway is connection to our spirits, whether it's guides, whether it's pets, whether it's our ancestors, whoever it is within our angels, whoever it is in the entourage, that connection in love is what fuels our hope. So how do we choose hope? How can you literally choose it? Now, one of the things that I do is I do a meditation every day, and I actually choose hope. I organize my life around a hopeful, joyful expectation. That's what I do. I have to do that because I live with people who are so grief-stricken that if I didn't orient myself as a medium around hope, I wouldn't be able to get out of bed in the morning. Do you get that? People say, how is it that you do what you do every day? It's because I am organized around hope. That's how I orient myself. I orient myself every single day by choosing hope. So what I do is I light a candle and I choose hope. And I think about one thing that brings me hope, a happy story that I read. The other thing that I do is I surround myself with buoyant people. The really annoying Pollyannas. That toxic positivity thing that people talk about? Oh, she's so toxically positive. That's my tribe. All right? Right? It's like, oh my God, it's raining, the hillsides are going to come down, but think of the flowers that are going to grow, right? Okay, that's someone you just want to slap. That's my tribe, okay? So surrounding yourself with people who are buoyantly hopeful and resilient. Very, very important to do, especially if you are working in any kind of grief, pain situation, people in medicine, anything like that. Really dealing in hope and holding that space is incredibly important, or we will, we'll just sink, and we can't allow ourselves to do that. So one of the things I also do is I read inspiring books, biographies, people who've overcome a lot. And that's probably the list of some of the books. Anita Moorjani, near-death experiences, always read stuff like that. My Life as a Seer, anything by Edgar Cayce is always great. The Book of Joy, Lasting Happiness in a Changing World by the Dalai Lama, of course. Of course, he should get top billing. The Book of Hope, a survival guide for trying times. So anything with hope in the title. A friend of mine who spends a lot of time in Antarctica, he loves to talk about a story of a guy who fell down a crevasse, was left for dead, and managed to get himself back to base camp with a broken leg. I'm like, yeah, that's my tribe. The guy who falls down the crevasse, they think, oh, he's a goner, and he crawls out and he gets to base camp just before the whole group leaves, just in the nick of time. And he got there by setting tiny goals. If I can make it to that snowdrift, and I'm thinking, well, in Antarctica, there are a couple of snowdrifts, but if I can make it to that one with the black spot, I can make and so he just broke it up into doable pieces. So you know what? When life just seems overwhelming, break it down. I choose hope every day, no matter how things look. Because after all, I stand there talking to people most people can't see. And I'm working without a net. Do you understand? I'm like, I don't know who's going to show up. This is not the Hollister Rand show. So I show up in the hope that something positive is going to happen because I set the intention and I'm willing to serve. So if you do that, hope will be fueled by love in your life and you will be unstoppable. Unstoppable. No matter what your purpose may be. And this is where the difference comes in. So hope is directional and makes purpose a path. So that's the important thing. That's where we're going to be different, is what are you bringing hope to? And it will define your purpose. So I think of you, Barbara, right? With your organization. And you, Dr. Jim. There was a hope and a hope you want to share, right? So that it's hope fueled by love, which leads us to purpose. So if you're wondering, what's my purpose? Maybe your life has changed. Maybe you're no longer working in the same way, or, it's a different phase in your life, and you're like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? Oh, just stop with the what's my purpose. Just go with, where is the love? Let me dedicate and orient myself toward hope, and the purpose will show up. Do we get that? We're making it all so darn hard. And on that note, I would like to give something away to help someone in this room orient themselves toward hope. So if someone could collect the little mailing list cards, I will do a drawing. If you need a pen to fill that out, feel free, because we've got extra pens and things. And while we're doing that, I will answer some other questions about life, death, hope, spirits, or anything like that you might like answers to. Did you have a question over in here? I thought I saw a hand wave. This is like an auction. If someone kind of goes like this, I'm like, you've got a question. So was there a question over in here?
Well, I have one.
You do have one.
Do you think there's a place, like a physical place, that the spirits go, or are they just drifting around, or?
Do I think there's a physical place where the spirits go, or are they just drifting around? I would say no to both of those things, because, and I'm okay with being wrong and being proven wrong at a later date, but given the information that I have and the understanding that I have, The spirits are very consciousness-based, frequency-based, vibration-based. So they're less location-based. So in other words, your dog can be with you, can be with me, even if I were in my car and I had a sense of your dog as I was coming here. So it's more of a connective quality with the spirits and less of a place. So one of the reasons I suggest that people stay very physical in their bodies and do grounding exercises and be very present is because our bodies are our address, and that's how the spirits connect with us. We can't be flying around ourselves trying to find them. That just doesn't work. So our being grounded and present allows them to show up. And because I'm so magnetic, and I'm not being funny when I say that, but I have a very magnetic quality, it just draws the energy in and helps them to solidify in a way where when I was young, the spirits looked absolutely physical, so much so that I couldn't tell the difference between people and spirits. That has changed because now I trust what I do a whole lot more. And I'm talking to a whole lot more spirits, and they've adapted the way that they communicate with me. Yes, sir. Yes. What's that?
I was getting Peggy.
Oh, you were asking for Peggy. See? That's what I mean. Was there a question over here? Yes.
Will our loved ones meet us when we pass?
Absolutely. Will our loved ones meet us? Absolutely.
And our pets too?
And the pets. You know, when I was a young medium, I thought there was a pet heaven. Like I was very much in the heaven kind of, I thought there was a pet heaven and a people heaven. I thought they were two different places. And then I saw an old bald man in spirit show up with an old bald dog in spirit. And they came together. And the woman said, oh, that's my grandmother, that's my grandfather. And he had a dog that had a skin disease and lost all of its hair. They were both bald. And at that point, then I realized that, you know what? It isn't a place, and they aren't separate. And yes, our pets and our people will come together. And what I can assure for everyone here is exactly who you need to see will be there for you. That's how it works. And the other thing is, no matter how quickly we pass, it doesn't matter. They're on call. This is the other thing. Like, they don't have to get to you like we have to get to the hospital for someone. Like, they're not going to miss us because we are connected in that way, and it's frequency-based and all of that. So they're not traveling, not like, oh, my God, I've got to get on a plane, right? It doesn't work that way. It's instantaneous. Yes. Yes.
So, when you said Kathy's dog was a person?
Yes.
What exactly did you mean? I thought you meant maybe in another life it was a person.
That I don't know. That's above my pay grade.
Okay.
But it has actually happened where I've spoken with dogs who have said they were with the same person in another lifetime, but didn't want to come as a person and didn't want a whole lifetime, just needed to be with them for a short period of time. The only time that has happened, it's been for a person who accepts that and knew it already. Like, I wasn't telling them something that was off the wall and they thought I was insane, because I thought I was insane when I said it. So my work with the spirits, I give it as I get it, and I do not censor myself. So I know that the person is ready. But no, you treated your dog like a person. And so this dog presented, except physically, that's what I'm saying, I'm getting the sense of a female, there's personhood here, but I wasn't seeing a body to go along with it. And that was confusing to me as a medium.
I see.
All right? Because it was an energetic match. Yeah. Was there another question here? Yes. Go ahead. On the pet subject. By the way, you don't know the black and white cat, do you? Oh, you do? Okay, because you said something about pets and a black and white cat jumped up on the chair behind you and was all sorts of wrong. Can I tell you? I mean, this cat was like, what are we doing here? All right? So, wants to run the show, this cat. Do you understand? Wants to run the show. So, I'm sorry, what was your question?
Well, I've lost a black and white cat and other kitties. Can their soul,
Well, I know you have because your black and white cat is here. Yeah, yeah.
I miss them already, I still miss them from when I was little. Do they come back as another cat in my life?
Oh, that is such a good question. So, do our animals reincarnate and come back? It's easy to believe that because we will often meet another animal with all the earmarks of the one we've lost. So, it's very easy to believe that. But what these animals in spirit have shown me is they will influence animals and they will help bring animals into our lives. And there's almost this like, especially if you're going to a shelter or a rescue, it's kind of like the pet in spirit says, if you tilt your head and you smile, they'll think you're me and they'll take you home. All right? If you like that toy that they bring, they'll take you home. Okay? There is such, we think we have the rescue organizations. We do not. The spirits have an amazing rescue organization. Animals bring other animals to people all the time. And I had a couple come, and one woman said to me, well, their cat Chester died. I think the cat's name was Chester. Chester died. And they went to a shelter, and she was sure that Chester was reincarnated in this cat. And her wife looked at me like, save me, I don't want another cat, And that was the first time I really came to understand that this was not the reincarnation of her cat. But Chester made it very clear that that was his choice for them, but that it was up to them to make the choice, but that he was highlighting this particular cat, which was apparently very stupid, not the smartest but was very cuddly. So very different from Chester, which was interesting. So, yes. Did we choose up? Great, let me do that. I got distracted. The spirits are very, very distracting. I wish sometimes you all could see what I see. My friends, when we go out to lunch or we go out to dinner and we're just talking about who knows what, I'm usually not open. I don't run around open, but there are just some subjects or things or people will ask a question or I don't know what, and then I will just zone out and I will take off. And they'll say, there she goes again. There she goes again. She's just gone. Away with the fairies. Okay. Paul Teft, is that right? Paul. So I have something here for you. This is a candle for hope. So this is for you to light in the mornings and choose hope. Whatever that hope is going to be for you. And there are also 2 crystals here, which will help really sort of highlight all of that hope, and really bring it home to you. All right, you're very welcome. Every morning, choose hope, my dear. Thank you. And by the way, that candle, the scent is Beach House. Just want to let you know. It's kind of like bringing coals to Newcastle, but that's okay. I brought the beach candle to the beach. So, I do also have a small spirit circle that's going to happen on Saturday. It will be at the Lotus Boutique, and there are, I think, 5 tickets available. I think it's half sold out. So if you're interested in getting a private reading or enjoying it a little bit more, the information is on the flyers, also on my website.
Let me just say something about that. Peggy and I went to one of those, and it was just marvelous. She would go from one person to the other. It was about 2 hours long, and you got to hear even much more about what was taking place. So.
Oh yeah, if you're nosy, A spirit circle is the place to be. Well, you know what's really intriguing about it is that everyone comes with what they think they need to hear. And what is astonishing is that there's so much resonance during a circle that everybody gets more than just their message. It is really astonishing what the spirits do. I'm always in awe. By the way, is your mother in spirit? Is your mother in spirit? Victor's mother.
Yes, she is.
Okay, is your mother in spirit as well?
Yes.
Okay, I've got two mothers here. So do you mind if I start with you, Victor? By the way, do you know a Catherine or a Katrina or a cat sounding name? Catherine, Katrina, something like that? Yes. Okay, do you know the cat? Okay, so I'm going to start with her and then I'll come back to you. That's just my way. When I get two spirits, two mothers, I have to say, okay, which one are we starting with? So they'll give me a name usually to move. Okay, and so who is the Catherine or the Kate to you?
My grandma.
Your grandmother. Okay, so we have mother, and is the grandmother on the other side of the family? Because on your father's side of the family? Also on your father's side, because your mother stands on one side and the Catherine stands on the other side, which would be your father's side. They just split themselves out so that I know the genealogy here. That's all. All right, it's just helpful for me. They don't go through the afterlife standing like that. It's just they organize themselves that way. Did you not expect to hear from your mother here tonight? Because she says she just said hello from hell. I don't know what. All right, so I'm not saying that's where she is, but were there some difficulties in her life or even difficulties with you? But just difficulties in her life. Okay. Very, very hard. Very, very difficult. So she comes here. It's so interesting. We're talking about hope. You know, she just did not see a bright spot. Do you understand? There was not a bright spot for her. And as I stand here and speak with her, there's this roller coaster energy with her. So there's this up, down emotional stuff that's going on as well with her. Do you remember that? Good heavens. I'm not sure she was always capable of having a family or raising a family or really being there in a real way. Does that make sense to you? So in some ways, you've had to fend for yourself or raise yourself or even raise others. Do you know what I'm saying? I feel like you are the one, because she looks at you like you're the mother that she could not be. Do you get that? That's a yes or a no. If you don't get that, I'll go back to her. And are you the caretaker? Yeah. Yes, that's exactly what we're talking about. You are the caretaker. You are the one who makes sure that everyone is okay. It's almost like it's your job to keep everybody on an even keel. And boy, are you exhausted. Isn't that the case? It's so interesting as I look at you, there's violet gold light that shoots out of your head. So I know that you have a spiritual practice. And that has saved you. You get that, right? It's like, it's so central to your life. It keeps you here. It keeps you functioning. You get that, right? But as I look at the colors and the energy, they don't go straight up. They go a little askew, just like a little off to the side. So you might feel like you live off center or a little off, or things are not quite centered. Does that make sense to you? And you've been wanting to be more centered, more solid, more connected. You've been wanting that and not sort of leaning. You didn't even take a fall to the right, did you? A fall? Did you fall to the right?
No, but I fell off a mountain.
You did? Okay, because they're on about this fall. And it wasn't to the right? Because that's what it looks like. Yeah, well, straight down. But they're going this off to the right. So there was something off to the right that either caught your attention or there was something, yeah. So you could have died there. Let's be clear. But you chose to stay. But part of you wants to fly out of your body at any chance you get. This is this kind of like off-center. Do I really want to be here? Maybe I don't. Life can be fraught. So your mother comes here to let you know that she knows what hell is because she lived it here. And you don't need to. It is time for you to let go of the pain of others that you carry with you. Because you carry other people's burdens. Do you understand that? Yeah. That's what you do. So you are very heavily weighed down. It is now time to let those go. You don't also know the person who died with the suicide, do you? Or the drug overdose? Or is that right back in here? It's right there. Okay. Don't worry, Victor, we'll come to you. But all of a sudden, and is this a male, by the way? Yeah, because person separated out and went right back there. So you'll be my next person. It is now time to drop the burdens of others. It's just too weighty for you. And so your mother wants to join you now in lightening up in a way and being peaceful and settled and organized within yourself. I think that's the ask of your heart, isn't it? Okay. I hope so. She seems to think so. There wasn't also a male you wanted to speak with here today, was there? Because she said to me, speaking of hope, there's a guy here. That's literally what her mother just said. Speaking of hope, there's a guy here. So there's a kindness with him, a warmth and a kindness. You know that, right? He's a gentleman. He's kind and he's gentle, and he's sitting right there, he's decided. You asked him to come, apparently. And were you writing his name down somewhere? Because he gives me this feeling of his name being on something or something you can see. So I thought, is this a plaque? What is this? Is it hanging on a wall? I feel like his name is up and can be seen. He has a great sense of humor, by the way. He's very, very funny, which means he's going to come to you in weird ways. He also likes nature. That's where you will feel closest to him. He's showing me himself out on the water, by the way. So be by the water and you will feel him or you will see him. So there's a connection directly with him there. I don't think there was a lot of time to say goodbye to him. He gives me the feeling he was gone quite quickly. And that's the way he would have chosen to go. Very painful for you. But he is not someone who's going to die a little bit by little bit by little bit. Do you get that? He's a very vital, strong kind of person. He was going to be here or not here, nothing in between. He wasn't going to do that. He loved to live 100 miles an hour, by the way. So this idea of what are we going to do today? Being very involved with life. Was he interested in gurus or spiritual stuff like that? Or are you? You are. Because he gives me this feeling of gurus. So it's interesting. He may align with your spirituality. You may find him in that because there's almost a feeling of you may have shared it and he didn't buy into it, or whatever that looks like, he's now on your team. You were right, apparently. You were right. So there is love here and there is appreciation for you. Do you know the Rob or the Bob, by the way? He's mentioning that name. Rob or Bob? Yeah. Okay. Is that associated with him, by the way? No. So this is somebody else. Oh, good Lord. Okay. We got to get to the lady in the back. I've got to leave you, your whole group. It's like this lady over here. How many people can the medium talk to in one night? So much love for you. And may I leave you with that? I love your guy. I love him. He's adorable in every possible way. But he didn't know that he was. Do you understand that? He didn't realize how adorable he is. He never really trusted people's attention. Do you get that? He also had a difficulty with his father. Isn't that the case? Because he gives me broken heart father. So I feel that he had a broken heart as it related to his father. He talks about mutual friends or people that you have in common or that you know in common. Will you be with those friends, or will you be talking about him soon, or did you just?
Yes, I might have seen someone at the cemetery, I'm not sure.
Okay, you did, because he's letting you know, yes, you were in that sphere. Yes, you were connecting with other people. So he wants you to know that. He's also coming with a lot of music, by the way. So there's a great interest in music. Do you know if he struggled with drug addiction, by the way? Because he gives me the feeling of addiction, drugs, and his death was just kind of the end of a period of time where it could have happened any day. It just feels like that. You know, he's walking this tightrope, and one day it was just over. So as targeted and as suicidal as it was going to happen at some place, sometime. In some way, he just couldn't escape himself. But you're stuck with him now. Because apparently, you are someone who listens. Do people tell you that?
Yes.
That you have a good ear. You listen. And he appreciates that about you. You can listen to people's pain and hold your ground through it. You do not shy away. That's a very rare ability, by the way. And I often see it in hospice workers, therapists, and church workers. Are you any of those three?
Trauma studies.
What is it?
Trauma studies.
Trauma studies, yes. Absolutely, this is what I'm talking about. You can hold that space. So, and that is really important. Because by holding the space and not shying away from it, that is a healing space. It is the place where just being a witness to the pain and listening to what has happened brings healing to the people here and to the spirits. Just so you know that, you're working both sides of the equation. So, you know, even if you don't think you're sensitive to the spirits, wherever you show up, where there is trauma, the spirits are there with you with the people you are working with. So, so you have a group that works with you on the other side. And it may very well be made up of people like this guy, who you know, even maybe tangentially, but others that you've just read about or have connections through other people. But there's also trauma in your family, by the way. You know, so you come to this work. I know this sounds weird, but did you ever read Anne Frank's diary?
No, I didn't.
Do you have any interest in that period of time? World War II?
Not as of yet.
Okay. Did you have a grandfather who died in World War II?
No.
Over here, do you have someone who died in World War II? It's right in here. I'm going to leave it there with you, though, because it was just such an odd thing that just dropped in, which makes me think they might be letting you know that there's a group that you're going to be studying or people you're going to be connecting with that, if they're not of that time, may still be suffering trauma of that time. So or there could be a study that you will find very interesting. So.
May I ask, is the person that appeared at the cemetery, are they ill?
That I don't know, and they're not saying that to me. So I can't tell you that. But I do think it will be revealed to you in another way. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it's going to come around again. It just feels that way. That you'll run into that person again. There's this kind of circular energy around it. Yeah. Sometimes the spirits don't let me psychically spy as much as I might like to. As much as I might like to, especially being in the dating game. You really want to be able to psychically spy. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, all right, may I leave you with that? Victor, your mother is kind. Isn't that true? And she thinks you are the best thing since sliced bread. I'm telling you, she likes you. You are her favorite. Let's not tell them, okay? But you are absolutely her favorite. She was terrified when you suddenly had a growth spurt, by the way. She thought you might grow out of your hip sockets. She was worried about that. She couldn't keep you in pants. That's what she just said. Oh, that's why she started making pants, because that was the only way she could keep up. Okay. That's it. Just, yeah, okay. She creatively handled it. So she says that's what we are made of. We are made of innovation. We are made of making the best of the situation and adapting to whatever that may be. And she is absolutely right by your side because you are her son and you are indeed her favorite. And let that be your little secret. And may I leave you with that.
I can get jeans for him though.
What's that?
I can buy jeans.
You can buy jeans. That's great.
7 feet tall, you guys.
Okay. I'm glad they make jeans in that size. You know, I'm so short, it's difficult for me to find clothes. Thank goodness petites are in. You know, I guess, right. But for years, everything was cuffed. You know, so all of my jeans were cuffed, sometimes 2 and 3 times. There's a quote by Desmond Tutu, which is also on one of these slides. Who knows where we are in the slides? Hope is being able to see that there is light despite the darkness. And that is such a valuable quote. Hope is being able to see that there is light despite all of the darkness. So that's the thing, no matter how dark it is, it allows us to see the light better. And it doesn't have to be a lot of it. But if we focus on that light, it just begins to grow. So hope is directional and makes purpose a path. So I'm a journaler. I love to do we have people who do journaling here? Anybody? Yeah, because I'm like, and I also use it for automatic writing. I did that for years, where I would just have the spirits write. You know, I would just let my hand go. And I don't know if any of you know the medium George Anderson, but he used to do a lot of that. So when I was up and coming, you know, I knew people who knew him and all of this kind of thing, and we would just sit there and do this automatic writing thing. So prompts for inspired journal writing. And I don't know if you can take a photo of the prompts, but maybe you can write them down and remember them. So where in my life can pain become purpose? And I think we saw an example here with trauma studies. Where can pain become purpose? We even saw it in the ancestral lines that were divergent and coming together in peace with someone who is doing healing with her ancestors and with the land itself, with the water on the land. So where in my life can pain become purpose? In my own life, one of the reasons I wrote my first book, I'm Not Dead, I'm Different, Kids in Spirit Teach Us About a Better Life on Earth. My cousin Tommy, when he was 19, killed himself in a very, very public way. And we learned about it by hearing it on the police scanner. My uncle heard it. It was the night before Thanksgiving. And when I started as a medium, I said, okay, everybody, I will serve as a medium, but I don't want to talk to kids, and I don't want to talk with people who've committed suicide. Those are my rules. First week after I said that, it was all kids and all people who died with suicide. And that's when I realized that I don't run the show. And so I realized, too, that it was Tommy who was bringing these kids to me. And he was healing me through speaking with the many who had died by suicide. It brought healing to my heart because I thought that if I shunned it, if I turned away from it, if I didn't look at it, everybody thought we were brother and sister. We look exactly the same. It was losing my brother in a very public way. He shot himself in the middle of a street on Thanksgiving Eve. It was horrendous in more ways than I could deal with. So I thought, if I don't look at that and I just look at all these other spirits, but he brought all of these kids to me. And that was the book that was published first. Pain becomes purpose. It's really important to know that. So if you're casting about for purpose, look at your pain. Look at the love, which will take you to the hope, which will circle you back to the purpose. Are we clear about that?
Can you ask to put the slide back up?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. How can that purpose help others? So that's the other thing. Hope and service are very, very intertwined. When we are of service, it changes us. We think we may be doing it to help others, but the residual effect is we are different because of it. And I point to my cousin Tommy guiding me into, I never wanted to be a medium. That was like the last thing. I wanted to support other mediums. I did not want to do this work. I didn't think I was up to the job because it was so emotionally fraught. I couldn't even bear it. And then I got into ghost busting, and I met some very not nice people. Very not nice. And I decided, and as one young man in spirit told me, dying doesn't make you nice. I can vouch for that. So I finally said no more workplace harassment. And I decided to calibrate how I would connect with the spirits by setting the frequency at which I would connect. And so that's how I sort of stumbled upon love. What small thing can I do today for which my future self will be grateful? I use that one all the time, especially when it comes to dishes in the sink. I really don't want to load the dishwasher, but I know that my morning self will be very happy with an empty sink to start the day. Now you can start that simply, but when you start thinking about your future self and communing with your future self, what you begin to understand is your future self already has the answers that you need right now. And it will start orienting yourself. Because remember, hope is based in the expectation of a positive outcome. So speak to yourself at the positive outcome. And it will start aligning everything that is present right now toward that outcome. Does that make sense? Because time doesn't exist with the spirits. They live in the eternal present, the eternal now. The past, present, and future all exists at the same time. So all I'm asking is for you to act like a spirit. Live in the eternal present moment where everything exists at the same time. So allow your future self to live in the hope and the solution that your heart is asking for today, because your life will then orient around it. What are 3 values I hold most dear, and how might I act to reinforce their importance in my life? I remind myself of that because it's interesting, values do change. as we age. Values change depending on life circumstances, and that kind of thing. But if you start to look at them, the values that keep coming up again and again and again are those that you will carry through your entire life. So what looks mutable ends up not being mutable, ends up not being circumstantial, and ends up directing our lives. And so to live a value-based life, if we think our values change and it feels that way, and we have changed, if you start looking at your past self, having your future self inform your present self, all of a sudden you start seeing what the 3 values are that have remained consistent. Everything else might change, but there's power in the 3. If I were to describe my mission in life in 3 words, see, 3 is really important. That's why I keep saying 3. In 3 words, what would they be? Do not be surprised if they have something to do with the values that you also listed. And if I were to ask a spirit for help with a specific problem, who would that spirit say? Who would that spirit be? And what might that spirit say? See, we all have an entourage. We already saw how spirits are informing us and saying, yeah, we're here, we're working with you. Yes, we're doing this. Yes, we're bringing this in. The spirits are aligning with you. They all have a job. If you think you retire when you die, forget about it. We're not sitting on a cloud. We just become spiritual workhorses because there is this connection with those we've left behind on the earth plane to bring healing, to bring change, to move the entire humanity forward to the great transformation which is coming, however you may think that will be. But it starts with one-on-one personal healing of broken hearts. That's where it starts. By the way, do you have a male in spirit you were hoping to connect with? Because there's a guy sitting here, and he keeps catching my eye. I keep trying to talk beyond him, and, he has a presence. You understand that? He's not blah, 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 blah. He's not loud in that way, but he has a presence. There's a strength and a solidity to him. So he's the kind of guy where there might be a very busy room, like at a party, but eventually people will listen to him. Do you get what I'm saying? He's kind of like E.F. Hutton, where it's like if they speak, he speaks and the room hushes. He has that quality. There's a reflective way that he looks. He's a deep thinker, in other words. He sees what is going on, and I think he's a mover and a shaker. He strikes me as that way. There's a power that he has. So, and he goes about it maybe quietly, but things get done. So he's that way. He's very grounded, very goal-oriented, very this is how we live. It's almost hard to believe that he's dead, actually, because he's so alive and he's so strong and he's so real. By the way, do you know Dave or David? He's mentioning that name. And Danny, by the way. I just want to make sure you don't know the Dave or the Danny, sometimes right behind. Nope. Then it's someone still here with him. And I think this may have been a mentor or someone that he worked with or did work with. It's okay. You may find that out. The David may be related to him. The Danny may be someone that you will come in contact with or do something with. Because all of a sudden I saw moving pictures or film. So I'm not sure what that's about, but there could be a film-oriented situation that's going to show up. And there could be, even a David and also a Danny involved with that. But it looks like moving pictures or things like that. So he's bringing that up. This is a guy who's a mover and a shaker even in spirit. And he's very much a supporter of yours, which makes me think that anything you create and anything you set your mind to, he will help you do. So do not think you're done. You might like to be done in some ways, but you are not done. That's what he just said, so I'm going to go with him. So it could be that your work may have a new inspiration, reaching a new or different audience. So it feels like something new, like a new series or a new inspiration or a new way of taking the old and making it new. It just feels like that kind of shift. He's very interested in that. He just said to me, everything old is new again. That's what he just said to me. He might be as comfortable in a suit as he is in a pair of jeans. But I like him in a more casual sense. So he's hung up the suit and he's wearing the jeans. So I do think that there was a desire on his part for a simpler life, a life of ease, and I'm not sure he got all of that. I think there was the thought of a certain amount of longevity that perhaps he didn't get. Do you understand what I'm saying? I feel like he wanted, or maybe you wanted more time to have that downtime together. That's what it feels like. Like we missed out on our time to just be together and maybe do nothing, or take a trip to Europe, or float around on a boat, or, walk in the hills, or such like that. He is walking with a dog, by the way. So he's got a dog by his side. So I just want you to know that. He has a great smile, this man. There's a warmth in his smile, and he doesn't turn it on for everyone. You have to earn this. Do you understand? He's very careful with who he lets get close. There is so much love for you from him. But what's even more is the respect that he has for you. My feeling is that not many people are his equal. I'm telling you, because he's kind of towering with his energy. There's a towering quality to him. And he met his match in you. And there aren't many. You are truly one in a million to this man. And he trusted you completely because you always spoke the truth. As brilliant as he is, as powerful as he has blind spots. You understand? He was blinded sometimes to people's intentions or motivations or things like that. You are so astute when it comes to people, and you were his greatest asset because of that. He was blind sometimes. He couldn't see it. So there's tremendous gratitude to you. And he didn't always want to hear it. I have to tell you, he's very funny. He just rolled his eyes like, I didn't always want to hear it. But he always got it. What he wants most for you is for you to enjoy your life. Your physicality may have taken a hit after he died. He gives me this feeling that it was either low energy or just, a challenge. For some reason, he's pointing to the neck. Now, I don't know whether there's a neck issue, a thyroid issue, something like that, but that's what he's pointing to. And what I would say with that is he says, speak your truth. That is what is necessary in this case. He's eating well, he wants you to know, which is hilarious. They don't have to eat. But I feel like I'm at a steakhouse all of a sudden, you know. So that's funny. We will continue to do great things together, and we will continue to have fun. That has not ended. I will always be with you, and may I leave you with that. And may I leave you all with that. Let me just see if there's a slide that I missed. Well, here we go. So hope is found in orienting all thoughts, feelings, and actions toward a positive outcome. H is for healing. Hope is already within you. O is for overcome. Hope is borrowed from the experience of overcomers. P, purpose. Hope is discovered in new purpose. Hope is found, and E, expectation. Hope is found in orienting thoughts, feelings, and actions toward a positive outcome. I hope that this has been valuable to you tonight. Please understand that hope cannot be separated from love. Hope cannot be separated from purpose. So love fuels hope, and hope fuels purpose. And it almost always starts with pain and loss. And that's why I, as a medium, do what it is I do. And I'd like to close with a blessing on our time together. Dear friends and relatives in spirit and guides who are here helping us to do this work today, for I know we didn't do it alone. Thank you so much for this time together, and I ask a blessing upon it, not only now, but in the days ahead. Thank you so much for using me to do this work. It is indeed an honor and privilege to serve you, and so be it. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you. Thank you.